Hey everybody, it's Gail, and I am in my laundry room right now because the project that I am working on has to be felted. So this is the project. It is going to be a little creature. This is from Beastly Crochet, which I will talk about in depth in a couple of minutes. But what you do is you make this out of 100% wool. This is Lion Brand Fisherman's wool in the white, and then the pink is Hobby 100% wool, one of theirs. And so you make it according to pattern, and then you have to felt it, and the instructions in the book say to take the little dude, put it into a lingerie bag, zip that right up, and then I am to throw this in the washing machine, which is right down here, with a little bit of detergent and a pair of jeans, and do a warm water cycle twice. So the thing about it though is that I cannot abide the idea of running my washing machine twice just to felt this guy. So instead of a pair of jeans, I have both pairs of my jeans. I only have two pairs of jeans. And some other cotton-based fabrics in here to run with this guy. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Felting is all about getting it wet and making it agitate, and it's going to do that in this anyway, so we're going to give it a shot. If I pull it out after the first cycle and it looks shitty, I might be convinced to do a cycle without it. I've looked at some of the notes on Ravelry, and really depending on the wool you're using, it can be easier or harder to felt this dude. But Lion Brand Fisherman's wool is just good plain wool that is noted for being able to felt very well, so I think we'll be all right. So in you go, little dude. I will report back. Hey, so the washing machine is going. We are on round 1. We will check back on it when it is done with the first round and then see how things look. But I thought while I'm waiting for that to happen, I'd talk about this book a little bit. So this is Beastly Crochet by Brenda K.B. Anderson. This one is still in print. I finally have a book on my shelf that's still in print, which is a rare thing. So the idea of this is creatures. Little creatures for your house. And I'm making actually one of these monsters from the front, which are called Hubert and Cletus in the book. And I'm only making one of them. But you make them the same way. It's, you make as many as you want and as many colors as you want. And then you've got little guys to hold your stuff. But there are dolls in here. There's hats. There's little mittens that look like werewolf paws. There's a pair of bunny slippers with fangs, which I love. So it's a lot of different stuff, and I really like that. I like that it's a big variety of stuff. And a couple of things that I really like. I think the clothes in here are adorable. So they are all aimed at children, which, fine, I guess. I guess I don't need a sweater dress that has a little kitty head and crossbones. And I guess I don't need a robot sweater. I mean, I can size them up. I know, but still. Also, the robot sweater comes with a stitch chart because you're doing so much color work. So that will actually be really easy to just make as big as I want it. Because, I need a robot sweater, but I feel like Sean really needs a robot sweater. You know what I mean? I might not even tell him I'm working on it when I'm working on it and really surprise him with a robot sweater. I'm really bad at not telling him things. I'm filming this at the beginning of November, and he has his Christmas socks that I made him already. Really, I was afraid they wouldn't fit. But back to the book. Working the Cletus and Hubert pattern, or Hubert and Cletus, I forget how she lists it. That makes me think the rest of the book is going to be really easy to follow along with. The pattern was easy to follow along. The instructions for washing are very, very clear, like I was telling you just a minute ago. And I think it's a really fun book with a lot of cute stuff. There is a robot pillow that I think that was the first thing I ever saw from this book. I just saw it. I think I was looking at pillows on Ravelry just because I was trying to come up with something to make, and I saw that and I thought it was great. And there's there's just all kinds of stuff. It's a good variety book. Couple of things though. It's supposed to be a Beastly book, but they have a tiki pillow pattern, and then they have a Day of the Dead skull, and those aren't like beasties or robots. Those are like actual cultural things for other people. So I don't love it, but it is what it is. They're going to be in the book. I don't have to make them. Yeah, I find it odd that in a book that it's about like making things look like, you know, kind of cartoony monsters, or making things look like robots, that there's a couple of things that are like actually culturally significant. Just sort of being presented as like, ooh, creepy. Like, that's weird. That's not great. Anyway, yeah, so love the book. We'll see how my felting goes. I will report back on that in just a minute. Alright, well, wash one is complete, and doesn't look felted at all. So that's interesting. I am going to take out everything except the jeans and go for round 2 and see if we have any signs of felting after that. Like, I can tell a little bit that it, like, a little bit of a very light felting has occurred sort of right here, but I think it's probably going to be hard to see on camera. But I can just, like, when you look at it next to other stitches, you can see that the texture is different, which means that part of it is felting, but the rest of it hasn't. And it may be that maybe it's that second wash that takes care of it, but gonna get everything that isn't the jeans into the dryer and then go again. Woo! We'll see how it goes. Hey everybody, I am still in the laundry room because this little guy smells like wet wool and I don't need that smell in my house. Well, the rest of the house. Anyway, so this did not take 2 washes. This took 2 washes and 3 cycles in the dryer, re-wetting it so that it would keep felting. And it is still not at the level as shown in the book. And this is one of those things that, you know, I understand that different wools felt at different levels, basically. Like, some felt more easily, some a little harder. But if you look at up here, the hair is pretty much perfect in terms of what it looks like when you look at the image in the book. And I'll put that right up there again real quick so you can see it. But the rest of the felting, it's pretty good in some places, but then when I was cutting out the mouth using my fabric scissors, using the best scissors in the house, clearly it did not felt all the way through here, and the pieces that were left over after working these teeth pieces were very felted, but like the actual edges here are not felted the way I would want. And you know, of course, the problem then is it going to unravel? And the answer is, if I don't do something, yes, it will unravel. So what I'm going to do is take some fray stop and very carefully put it on all of the edges that I cut to make the mouth. And then I'm going to use more of this fisherman's wool to sew around the edge here and around the edge here. And then I'm going to get some more of the pink to sew around the teeth. And I'm just going to do some over stitching so that those fray checked ends are under something else. And hopefully that will keep it from unraveling. But it's the only felted project in the whole book. So on the one hand, like, I'm not going to fuck up anything else by trying to felt it and hoping that my wool is going to felt like the other wool. On the other hand, we could have just not felted something and then there wouldn't be, I wouldn't be having these problems. But I will report back once I have finished with the cosmetic job. Little guy. All right, so my sewing around the edges, what I did was I took a double strand of the white and a double strand of the pink, and then I just worked it one stitch in from the edge all the way around on both of these sides, and then I did the pink in the same way so that those loose edges from the uneven felting are now very well under control under those stitches. And it does make him look a little different, I grant you. He does not have the sort of supreme cute mouth that the original design is going for, but the great thing about little monster guys is that the more exaggerated they get, the cuter they get. So, you know, I feel like things really worked out here. And rather than safety eyes, I went ahead and used a couple of buttons. So these are both vintage buttons I've had for a while. Specifically, this red one, pink one. I can never decide if it's red or pink. I have had this button for years. I went out to Goodwill and bought one of those big vases full of buttons, and this has been one of them. And I have been waiting for years for the perfect opportunity to use it because Lord knows I make enough stuff. It's got to be the perfect thing for a button, right? And it turns out the perfect place for this button is on this guy's face. So he does stand up on his own. He's a little smushy, but again, I mean, you know, I think if I ever make one again, and I think I would like to have a couple just for me, this is going to be a gift, is I would probably either track down the exact wool that the book recommends, or if it's discontinued, or, you know, only available, you know, several countries away with international shipping, I would look up wools that felt really easily. Because this fisherman's wool is meant to be felty, but like it definitely took a lot more effort to get it as felted as it is, and it's still not 100% felted, hence the mouth. So that would be my big tip on this is look up what wools felt really easily, and I think that's going to give you a much better chance of felting it according to the, you know, 2 wash cycles sort of plan that the pattern in the book has for you. The last thing is, because you do have to set this out to dry, so I stuffed it full of parchment paper to make sure the bottom stayed flat and the top stayed kind of pointy. It is going to take forever to dry, like several days to dry. And remember, I was putting this in the dryer while wet, and it even still came out with a lot of dampness. So what I did, because the little hairs at the top actually felted perfectly, is I just hung this little guy off one of the laundry racks in the laundry room on a clothespin and just left him there until he was dry, so that it wasn't a matter of kind of having to, you know, find a way to hold him so that it's gonna dry where it needs to dry. And like I found that the hands and the bottom were where most of the dampness had to dry out of. So just FYI on that. Anyway, you know, the felting process was a process, and it's the first time I felted anything, so I'm not surprised it wasn't perfect. I do think it's very important to consider the feltability of the wool you're working with, because that's going to make a difference. Some wools don't felt as easily as others, depending on how they were manufactured. But I'm not disappointed. He's a little bit different than the picture recommends, but he's fucking cute. It's going to be a great gift. I'm very pleased with it. I think, like I was mentioning earlier, I think there's a lot of stuff in the book that can be a lot of fun. So, you know, go forth, make a little buddy, maybe make yourself a robot sweater. And yeah, I think that's the whole shebang. So as always, if you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, all that fun stuff. And I will see you when I see you.